Rob.
And John.
And Steve.
And Brian.
Of Division 1.1. You are listening to SND Podcast.
Welcome to episode 81 of the SND Podcast Show, official NFL 2014 preview show. Dan, what's going on?
Not much. How's it going tonight, Steve?
Can't complain. Before we move forward, I hope everybody enjoyed the music at the beginning. It is a brand new song by Division 1.1 called Crush It. We have one more new song coming out next week for them. I believe it's going about 2 songs every month till the end of the year. And
Awesome.
So at the end of the year, we'll have a full new album from them.
Awesome. I can't wait. It's going to be fun, especially with football season coming through. It's going to be a nice bunch of kick-ass music like we know that Division 1.1 is going to bring. Can't wait to see Brian in 2 weeks for the opening day tailgate. So
Yes.
That's always going to be fun, as always. So
Thanks to them for doing the ALS challenge. If you haven't
Absolutely.
seen it, go check out Division 1.1 on Facebook, and the video is there. A lot of people they mentioned that nominated them, so they all got together and they all did it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So it was very cool. Congrats on that for them.
Also, when you're on their page, they have a lot of behind-the-scene videos going on of them recording, messing around, just having a good time recording the new music. So check those out. Those guys are having a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to welcome in license plate guy, Joe.
Yep.
Talk some Giants. Also from the SND Sports blog, who is actually now also writing for the new edition of the Eyes on Isles. As everybody knows, our friends Andy and all that, Rich and them went to Isles Insight.
There's Insight. Yeah.
So we need new writers for Eyes on Isles. Chris Doran, our Jets guy, is also writing for them. So check him out on Eyes on Isles, as well as check him out on the S&D Sports blog. His latest Jets preview article is up and running. So make sure to check that out. Tonight we plan to crush it.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
so
Nice
let's-
play on words. Football season's already here. I'm beyond amped. I know Steve's finally amped. He could actually watch football again. He's not as crazy as I am, but ready to go. Meaningful football is finally here, and I'm so excited. So stay tuned, relax, and
Get ready to crush it. Welcome back to the S&D Podcast Show, episode 81, the official 2014 NFL preview show. Right now, we would like to welcome to the show from the S&D Sports blog, as well as we mentioned before, now a new writer with Eyes on Isles, Chris Doran. What's going on, Chris?
hey, Chris, how's it going tonight?
Hey guys, good, glad to be here.
Ready to talk some Jets?
Jets.
Jets. All right, Chris. How are they going to build off of the 8-8 record that they had last year? The defense pretty much stayed the same. A few subtractions in the secondary. A couple injuries right now, unfortunately, at the secondary at the moment.
Yeah.
And people missing.
And people missing going AWOL, aka getting cut. So, what do you think? What do you feel this year coming up? A lot of moves on the offense, which is pretty much I liked. What do you think the Jets are going to be headed this year?
I think that the secondary is very, very, very scary and not in a good way. They're going to need the running game really to pick it up on offense. They need to be able to control the ball more than they did last year, because if they control the ball, if they're on offense, then the secondary is not on the field. And when you play in the first 7 weeks, you've got Calvin Johnson, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Brandon Marshall, and the first 7 weeks of the schedule is loaded. When you're playing offenses like that, you need to stay on the field because you can't let them score.
Absolutely, I agree with you on that. That is some murderer's row that the Jets have to face in the beginning part of the season right now. That's definitely nothing. That figures that's how funny the schedule works out sometimes. It always happens to be your biggest weakness has to go against the top echelon of players. That's how funny sometimes the schedule works that way, and unfortunate for the Jets. But thank God the Jets have a nice blitzing scheme, which we always know about, especially with the defensive front, with Sheldon Richardson and Muhammad Wilkinson. Thank you for that.
And Damon Harrison.
And Harrison as well. So honestly, I think this year the Jets' offense is going to be a bit better. They actually have targets to throw the ball to this year, unlike last year as well. So I think Decker is going to be a better surprise than what people think, because honestly, Decker was able to get 1,000 yards receiving with Tim Tebow, and not a lot of people give him credit for that because everybody thinks of him with Peyton Manning the last couple of years with Demaryius Thomas on the other side. So
Right.
I think Decker is not going to be as great, obviously, as the last couple of years with Peyton, but he'll still have his numbers. It really, more importantly, comes down to Geno Smith and his growth. And if he slacks, stumbles, I think the Jets have to give him the shot and stick with him, because that's not how you build an organization. We learned the lesson from Mark Sanchez. I really think they should find a way to keep Geno Smith in the loop. And if Sanchez has to start because of injury, great. If it's because of poor play after a couple weeks, they just have to stick with Geno from this point on. What do you think about that?
I think that Michael Vick is going to be breathing down Geno's neck a little bit in the first, say, 3 or 4 weeks of the season. If he can get through that, if he can play, which last year a lot of the problems that Geno had was decision-making with the ball. He had a lot of interceptions, and he didn't really run the ball like he should have because he, I guess, was unsure of himself in his first year. And having training camp with Mike Vick, he is going to learn more, and you've seen it in the preseason, when to hold the ball, when to throw it, when to run. And I think this year is going to be easier on him making those decisions because it's going to be more natural. He's used to it. He's had a full season under his belt. I do think he's going to take the next step this year, but Michael Vick is an imposing backup. He seems happy to be the backup, but you know that he's dying to get a starting job. Everyone in the NFL, if you're a quarterback, doesn't matter if you're already starting or if you're already a backup, or even if you're a third-string guy, all you want to do is start for your football team that comes Sunday. So that's definitely in the back of his mind. But as long as Geno's not a retard, as long as he makes proper decisions, I think he'll be good. I think, and I put it in my article, I think he'll get 3,500 yards passing and at least 20 touchdowns. Just between now he's got Decker, now he's got David Nelson for a full year, which they clicked last year. Jason Morrow is going to be a beast. That kid's just nasty. I didn't think he was going to be that good, but watching him in the preseason, I was just taken aback. I was shocked. The kid's got size and speed. Yeah, I can't wait to see him.
Speaking of Vic, a lot of people are saying one thing I actually did kind of agree on. Vic should have got the job because of this reason. You give Vic the job, he struggles, you bring Geno in. It doesn't look like a bad thing when it comes to Geno, because you gave Vic the shot.
Right.
But now that Geno is starting, let's say 5 games in, you're 1-4, and you look horrible, and Geno's got 10 interceptions already, barely moving the ball around, and you have to bring Vic in. You already look like you failed at a second-round pick last year again.
Right.
What's your take on that, Chris?
I can definitely see that point of view. And honestly, that does make a lot of sense. Because you bring Vic in, he's experienced, he's got 14 years in the league. If he struggles and you bring in Geno, and Geno just completely outperforms all expectations, then he'll be hailed as a savior. But if he goes in and he sucks, then we're back to peg one. It's hard, though, because you got to give him his chance. He wasn't that bad last year. He roller coastered the entire season. He was win-loss up until, I think, week 14, and they lost 2 in a row, but then they won 2 in a row to close out the season. So it's not like he is a bad quarterback. He just needs to work on his consistency, and I think having the experience this year coming into the second year is going to help with that.
Absolutely. And one thing before we start talking back to Geno Smith and the other things about the Jets, I want to talk about Michael Vick. And the one other thing I didn't understand, maybe it was because of media expectations and everything like that, that the Jets were apparently not happy at how Michael Vick took training camp this summer, of actually him being the predecessor to making Geno Smith learn and everything. But that originally that's what the Jets wanted him to be. So do you have anything to say about that, or that's just typical Jets being the Jets with Rex Ryan and John Izek getting something construed through the media?
I definitely think there's part media to blame on that one. But if I brought somebody in who I'm paying $4 million to, I would expect them to try and compete for a starting job because $4 million is $4 million. It's not like they brought him in on like a veteran's minimum deal or something like that. $4 million for backup core, that's a lot of money, especially when, you know, it's Michael Vick. It's not like they brought in Matt Hasselbeck, who's, you know, 39 years old and he's really done. He's just there strictly to be a mentor. They expected Vic, I think, to compete a little bit more than he did. And I can see where they're coming from, but the media, when it comes to the Jets, they always blow everything out of proportion.
Of course.
I mean, they bring it on themselves with Rex Ryan and his Super Bowl predictions and bringing in Tebow just because, hey, you can never have enough Tebow. But it's definitely, I think, part media to blame on that one. But you know, we'll see how the season plays out. I think that they're making the right choice by keeping Vic on the side.
Well, actually came out today that Vic will have a weekly spot on the Francesa show.
Really?
Yes.
That I did not know.
Apparently it was in the paper today that Michael Vick will have a weekly spot with Mike Francesa to talk Jets football.
So that should be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be good. Some good insight.
Yeah, no, that should be interesting. I really like Geno Smith, just like how I like Mark Sanchez. And I just thought the handling of Mark Sanchez was done so poorly. And as you can see in the preseason for Mark Sanchez, he looked pretty well. And I think last year the Jets might have been a playoff team if Sanchez didn't get hurt in the third preseason game against the fourth-string Giants in that game. And it just goes to show you if they had a healthy competition last year, and Geno, if Sanchez did suffer a little bit, Geno had the learnings of not being under fire and being able to groove in a couple of games here and there. Maybe we would have had a more talented Geno Smith. I think that's where I think Rex Ryan, as great of a person he is, a great moxie and everything like that, he does have such bad brain farts with his personnel at times. And that's the one thing you gotta criticize Rex Ryan with sometimes. But everything else about him is just ooze out awesomeness. But sometimes it's just, Rex, what are you doing? Would you agree with me with sometimes you just have to scratch your head on thinking what is Rex Ryan actually thinking sometimes?
Yeah, I think a lot of times with the offense, I think he delegates a lot of the decisions to other people because I think he, as big-headed as he can be, I think he knows that he's not that great of an offensive coach, and which is why Marty Morningway coming in is a huge deal. You saw last year a lot of people predicted the team last year go 3-13 or 4-12, and they went 8-8. Mm-hmm. I think Morningway, being the offensive mind that he is, really counterbalanced the way that Rex coaches the team. I think that they're a good match together. And I think that Vic coming in with Morningway also may have put a little bit more into people's minds. They may have read too much into that because of the fact that they were together in Philadelphia. So, I lost train of thought.
So, what is the number one thing you are looking forward to this season, Chris?
20 sacks.
Number one thing
out of either Sheldon Richardson or Muhammad Wilson.
I would be happy to get 20 sacks and runs combined. I don't know if they'll be able to put out 20 sacks individually, but I think that the defensive, I'd say the front four that the Jets have is probably the best in the NFL.
I agree. Right now, yes.
Yeah. You can get, if Sue and Fairley weren't messed up off the field, I could see Detroit being up there with them, but the Jets have the best front four and the worst secondary. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can help each other out.
Absolutely. We'll stick with the defense. The Jets' first-round draft pick was Calvin Pryor, big hitting safety out of Louisville. a.k.a. Liberty Mills slugging. What do you expect out of him? I know he was hurt for the beginning of training camp, and he was slowly putting in time and effort and everything out of the remaining of the training camp. What are you excited for to see him? And do you think he'll be the key member of the Jets secondary along with Milner whenever he returns for future years to come? Like, are you excited? Have you seen any hits he has done? Have you seen anything that made you impressed about him yet?
I'm extremely excited to be in Milner. I'm sorry, Calvin Pryor. Well, Milner too, because of cornerback stuff. But
yeah,
Calvin Pryor is good. If he can stay healthy, I feel like this kid's going to give himself some kind of head injury the way that he hits people. He was vicious.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what he does. I think he's going to help the run defense more than the pass defense. I think he's more of an enforcer than a cover guy. But yeah, he's going to be something special as long as he doesn't take himself out. I think I'm worrying more about that than I am say him tearing up his knee or something like that.
So yeah, I agree with you on that. He's definitely a hard hitter. Receivers and tight ends are definitely going to be thinking multiple times.
What's your take on this year's special teams?
Of this year's special teams, I'm glad Nick Folk came back because Nick Folk is one of my favorite guys on the team. Mostly because I met him once and he was really cool, but I was kind of upset that we let Jacoby Ford go because I was looking forward to him being able to return the kicks because he's fast and he's had a couple takebacks in his career, but nothing else really excites me other than that. They're pretty much where the status quo this year. They didn't really make many changes,
which is normally a good thing. So
right, exactly. And Folk had a great year last year, so I'm glad that he stuck around.
Yeah, I think so too. He's a very underrated kicker, especially with the Jets not being able to score touchdowns and everything like that. The last few years, he really was a key component of the team, obviously. I feel I would be doing a disservice without asking you this question for the Jets preview. Granted, we're all tired of this story and the big bust for the Jets. How excited and happy were you that the Jets actually cut ties with Stephen Hill? Unfortunately, he didn't get it done with the Jets, and he wasn't given the opportunity. And whenever he did get the opportunity, he failed miserably. So what do you think about Stephen Hill's release and being signed with the Panthers practice squad? That's actually kind of crazy to even think about.
I'm glad to see that he got another chance somewhere because I think it was more his failures due to the situation he was in than him himself. When you throw a guy in and just expect him to be Calvin Johnson just because he had similar stats during the combine, I mean, you had him thrown with Mark Sanchez and Geno Smith.
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from either of those guys, but who else did the Jets really have in the wide receiver position to, maybe draw coverage away from him, giving him the opportunity to get more open? Though the one thing that I do have against Stephen Hill, and I will always have this against him, is he couldn't catch the ball. He had more drops than anyone I've ever seen. If he catches the ball week 2 last year, we beat New England in New England.
And that point exactly, and that's what's crazy about it. Last year's team is, if they didn't have, those are the type of games that you needed Mark Sanchez in, or some sort of competent quarterback. I'm not saying Geno Smith wasn't, but if any guy who had some sort of experience in the league, they would have found a way to win. And him being his second game pro. Crappy weather, if I could recall, just was sloppy games all over the place. The Jets had the Patriots to hold, and they unfortunately kicked the field goal instead of driving the ball down the field and scoring a touchdown. And obviously, you can't do that with Tom Brady with 2 minutes left in any kind of game. No. So that goes to show you, and that's happened plenty of times. And like I mentioned earlier in our previous conversations, Geno Smith, fantasy-wise, he was the most inconsistent player because some week, whenever he was on, for example, the Falcons game on Monday Nighter, he would be able to score 20 points on the fantasy record, or he would get you absolutely nothing. So if he can fix 2 or 3 games this year, along with those couple of games, the Jets are in good shape, and they should be 10-6, like you predicted in your article. Like, what do you think Geno Smith has to do this year for him to get that next step to be an even better quarterback, and so on and so forth? What do you think? I know I saw your stats, and you mentioned your stats before, but do you feel confident saying Geno Smith's your starting quarterback going into Sunday against Oakland? Is pretty much what I'm asking you.
I do. I am confident in him. The only thing I need him to do, is he's got to limit his turnovers. He had just too many last year. And going back to that New England game, he had his own butt fumble. He tried to put the ball around his back at the goal line, and they recovered it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we just need to be smarter with the ball. If he can limit his turnovers, he's going to limit the amount of points that the other teams can put up on him. And that is going to obviously lead to them scoring less, meaning the Jets are going to win more games.
Yeah.
So that really is the biggest thing for him. He's just got to be smart with the ball.
And we haven't even got to talk about the addition of Chris Johnson. Granted, he's not CJ2K a couple years ago. And I think that, like a lot of people say around the NFL and everything like that it is the stupidest nickname because everybody thinks he's going to rush for 2,000 yards. He's still a top 10 back, and I'll take him with a brand new offensive line and actually have receivers and a little bit better quarterback around him. He was absolutely by himself in Tennessee. So I expect him to have a better season this year, and especially with Chris Ivory being able to pound the ball if he stays healthy around the goal lines. I think Chris Johnson will be fine this year, and that's exactly what the Jets needed. They've been lacking that the last couple of years. Ivory was hurt last year. Powell did an adequate job, but it wasn't what the Jets had when they were back to ground and pound with Thomas and LT for those couple of years. So, and even Sean Green for that limited time for one of the playoff runs. So, they're going to start slowly going back to the ground pound, which is great to see for the Jets fans as well, because they missed that the last couple of seasons along with not having the offense. So, you must be excited about that as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially seeing him in the preseason. I had never seen Chris Johnson really play in person before.
Oh, yeah. It's a treat. It really is awesome. When
I went to the game against the Giants in Week 3, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't believe that somebody on a football field could move as fast as that guy could.
Oh, yeah.
It was something else.
Yeah, he really thinks. I think what it really was is that he needed a new scenery, and the Jets were able to give it to him. And I think he still has a lot in the tank. So I think he's going to have a bounce back year for the Jets. I firmly think so. It might not be 2K like he did a couple years ago when he was 25, but I think he will be able to carry the load for the Jets. And knocking on wood, I'm not trying to jinx anything, but he so far has been the most durable back the last couple of years as well, which the Jets need as well, since Chris Ivory is not the most durable back because of how much of a pounding running back he really is.
I agree.
So, you mentioned in your article this tight end. Introduce him to everybody.
Jason Mara, right?
Jason Mara was taken in this year's draft, and I think he's going to end up being the best pick that the Jets made this year. I think career-wise, this kid is I can't get enough of this kid. He's just crazy. He's fast, he's big, he can catch the ball, he can block. I couldn't believe that after seeing him play. I don't know what other teams missed. I know I'm not a scout, but I'm just so high on this guy.
I was actually kind of bummed that the Giants didn't go after him since the need of tight ends were high. They were just what it was. I remember was he had a couple injuries and they were kind of scared of those injuries a little bit, and they didn't think he was mature enough. So if those two things go to fruition, he's going to be a stud like you mentioned. And I think he's going to obviously beat out Gumby, who was a great Jet last year.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, at least you guys have tight ends, unlike the Giants this year. So that's definitely going to be a plus this year as well. Just having Decker, I think just having Decker and Nelson, like you mentioned. Nelson was pretty underrated when he was with the Bills a bunch of years ago.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned before, he did pretty well with Geno towards the end of the season. And he was the de facto number one wide receiver on the team last year, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, they really had a rotating cast last year. There wasn't really anyone solid. Curley was hurt. Hill was still. And Santonio was garbage.
Yeah, he actually made the Bears roster.
Did he?
Yeah, he actually made it. He made a couple punt returns. He's actually punt returning. When was the last time you saw that? But I'm actually happy for you guys that Santonio he's no longer on the Jets. Yeah, granted, he was great when these guys in the playoffs and everything like that, but he was just a bad egg for you guys. And especially after you got that contract with them. So, with that being said, thank God he's back.
Yeah, a lot of guys are like that in the NFL. They play for their money. Once they get the money, they don't care.
It's 9-7. What you have here?
I'm 10-6.
10-6. That's right. I apologize. 10-6. Playoffs?
I think they can make it as a 6 seed. I don't think they're going to win the division. I think New England will have 12 wins at least. But I could definitely see them squeaking in for the playoffs as a wild card.
Okay. So, New England wins the division. That's going in as a wild card.
I would love to see them win the division because that means I get a home game for the playoffs.
You have season tickets?
I do.
What's your take on the gift card that they gave you?
Are you going to Fireman Ed Bob for Steve special?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to be the next Fireman Ed. That's for sure. I really don't, honestly, I don't like the card. I like the idea of the card. I like having the rewards points where you can, I don't know if really anyone anywhere has explained it, but the way it works is you get points by going to games. You get points by watching on TV and it'll show like the code. You get points for if you're at the game and say they score a touchdown in a certain situation. And you can use those points to redeem for rewards, like autographed pictures, experiences with the team, like stadium tours and stuff like that. So I like the idea of it, but the actual function of it, I cannot stand having a little stupid card for my ticket. I want physical ticket stubs.
Oh, what did I miss this year? I missed
They
that.
sent out the season tickets, basically a credit card.
Really?
Right.
Which has your ticket on it for the year. So when you show up, you scan that.
Interesting.
So how does it work if you go to sell a ticket?
If you go to sell a ticket, you can do it one of two ways. You can put it on the NFL ticket exchange, in which case you will lose your chance of getting reward points for that game. Or you can print it out from your Jets account and say, for example, I want to sell a ticket to one of you. I would print it out from my account and I would give it to you for whatever I charge you, and I would get half the points. The only way to get full points is to attend a game using your own card. Or if you have somebody you trust, you can have them take your card and have them swipe it.
Right. So ideally, if you wanted to, you can give, like, if you can't go to a game, you can give the person you're going with your card and be like, okay, hold on to both cards, use my card instead of.
Correct. Right. Right. And I think that's a little asinine, but I like the idea. I don't like the follow through.
You still want the ticket. That's what it comes down to.
Exactly. I want my ticket stubs. Last year, for the last week of the season, when we played, it was Cleveland on the last home game. They had every week in the 300s they do a 1 hour autograph signing with a guy from the past. Like, I think they had Wesley Walker a couple of times, guys like that. Last year against Cleveland, they had Freeman McNeil. And I didn't have anything for him to sign except for ta-da, my ticket's stub. So in that situation, you're kind of screwing out the fans of some kind of experience because you wanted to make it easier for you to have more direct ways to track your attendance.
Right. Which ideally you could just scan the barcode on the ticket and it goes into the machine anyway.
Exactly.
So, the ATS, we're going to the wild card thing, Chris.
Hey, they can easily do it. They just gotta withstand the onslaught of playing the Packers, the Bears. Then they play
Bears on Monday night at home, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, you get the Bears at home.
We do get the Bears at home.
Then you got
I can see if
Broncos, and then Thursday night against the Patriots. That's a little rough.
In New England.
That's gonna be really rough. But the
I think
definitely did take a couple of those.
I think if they can go to the first 7 weeks, if they can go 3-4 at a minimum, they'll be fine. Because the second half of the schedule is a cakewalk.
Oh, of course. They pretty much they're finished playing the NFC North, other than the Vikings. So that is nice that they got the first 3 of the first 4 weeks they played that division, and then they got the onslaught at Denver, and then on the road to Thursday night to New England. That's going to be rough for the Jets. But hey, crazier things have happened with the Jets.
Yeah, that back-to-back is going to be brutal.
So hopefully Peyton Manning takes it easy on you guys by that time.
Well, I thought of it this way. If Peyton lights up the first 3 weeks of the season, 4 weeks of the season, the way he did last year, at least I would be able to be in attendance when he breaks the career NFL touchdown record.
You got a point for that. And also, let's say he does blow you guys out in the first half, you could take all your starters and rest them for Thursday.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you'd rather beat the Patriots and try and win the division.
Yep. Division games are worth double. That's how I think of it.
Chris, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely.
SNDPODCAST.com. Make sure to look for his articles every week for the Jets. Also, Eyes on Isles. I know he has a couple Eye on the articles up on there already. So check him out on both. Follow him on Twitter, JT's Helmet Hair, and what was the other one?
At 12 Fives.
Spell that out for them.
TWELVEFIVES.
There you go, everybody. Check out Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, guys.
Stay tuned for more Division 1.9. Crush it right now.
S&D Podcast is in no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Football League or any of its affiliates.
This is Joe, the license plate guy for the New York Giants, and you're listening to the S&D Podcast Show, the only place to go for your sports, baby.
All right, welcome back to S&D Podcast. You just listened to Crush It by Division 1.1. We're going to welcome back our good friend, big-time Giant fan. We know him as license plate guy. Joe, I know you're amped up. I'm amped up. Let's get this season started. What do you think? Detroit, what's going on next Monday night?
Come on, man. What we got, 5 days left? As soon as I go to sleep, wake up at 4, I'm ready to rock and roll, man. Whole day on.
I hope so, man. This offense, I'm not scared yet, but the first drive on Monday, if they go 3 and out and it doesn't look pretty, I'm going to be starting to get a little nervous. What do you think so far?
Nah, come on. Get off the ledge. I say this all the time. It might not be you, but there are thousands of people on ledges everywhere like this is the end of the world. First of all, you really can't get a read on preseason. I really don't care about it at all. You're really looking for the guys that are trying to make the team. That's really what preseason is for. Don't get me wrong. You need to get your act together. You need to get your first team going at least a couple of series, if not one. And no, we didn't look too good, but that's what practice is for. And I'm hoping that they got it out of the way. And the reason why I always say get off the ledge is because what do we have? Like 1, 2, 3 weeks, not 6 like last year, but it's a marathon. It's not, that's what kind of race it is. It's not a sprint. And I think they're going to be just fine. They're going to get their acts together, and Beckham's going to be back, and He's going to be out running people with that good hamstring, and I think we're going to be just fine.
Your lips to God's ears. I think we're going to be fine. We're just going to have Eli manage the ball a little bit, get the offense going. I thank God for Jennings, man. I really love the Rashad Jennings pickup, like I mentioned earlier in our draft preview with you. I really love that signing. And the other guy that I told you about, Andre Williams, before the draft, I told him that we should go out and get him.
Hearing about him since last September.
And we got him, and he's a younger version of Ahmad Bradshaw, like I said. And I'm ready to go with the running game this year. Just hopefully our offensive line stays up a little bit. I'm excited with the new guy we got from the Niners, Justin Pugh, and all that other stuff. So I'm really amped up to go with the running game. What do you think about the running game this year?
You know, I read a lot of stuff that people didn't think that Jennings has what it takes to be a starting running back in the NFL, that he didn't play enough games or didn't show enough. But when he did play, and when the Raiders let him carry the ball, he was stellar. I loved getting Jennings. I think he's going to do great things for the Giants. I can't remember the last time we had somebody with at least a breakaway speed to break a 70-something yard run. I love to see it, and the reason why I say that is it can happen multiple times, not just once. Have that with Williams signing, I think is great. I mean, you're talking about a steal in the draft. I said a while ago when I watched him run in practice, I thought he looked exactly like the mod, and hit you like Jacobs. So I think it's a great 1-2 punch. They're definitely going to do some damage, and nothing like giving it to a veteran if they need a break and giving it to Hillis, or let the high note carry a couple of plays. So I think the running game is great. But you know as well as anybody that it's going to boil down to what the offensive line could do, whether protecting Eli or opening up the freaking holes for the running game.
All right, Joe. You've been to all the practices. You were at all the preseason games.
The life.
Give us one offensive player that nobody's talking about that you're excited for this year.
Wow. Eli Manning. Nobody is talking about him, and if you say they are, they're not. They're talking about him in a negative sense. I'm telling you that guy who's already led us to the promised land twice, who's already taken home 2 shiny trophies and 2 rings, the guy is going to adapt to McAdoo's offense. He's going to come out, and all of these critics have him, not playing well or throwing a bunch of interceptions again. It's just not going to happen. The guy's going to come out and he's going to put together a very nice year. And you know as well as I do that Eli likes to check down. So in this type of offense, that's going to be a big part. And if he likes it, I'm telling you, expect big things from Eli this year.
All right. Same question. Defense side of the ball.
Defensive side. I got to go with my man, DeMontre Moore. I really think that he's going to, he causes havoc. You've seen him in the preseason. He had a couple of sacks. He had a fumble recovery. The guy just has speed off the edge. And let him loose. That, along with Kennard, I think is going to be a great backer. And I can't say enough about these D-backs. Good luck trying to throw on us. You're either going to get intercepted, you're going to get knocked away, you're going to get your bell rung. Either way, it's going to be real hard to throw on us.
Absolutely. And like we said before, you and me seem to be the only ones that were the only guys that have supported DeMontre Moore other than his family and teammates the last couple of years. So I got your back with D-Monster. I expect huge things out of him as well. What do you think with our secondary? We have Rogers Camardi, we got Thurman, defending champion with the Seahawks with the Legion of Boom, and the most underrated player, one of the most underrated D-backs in the whole entire league in Prince.
Well, I wouldn't go that far because he's an excellent player, and they've been leaving him alone out there on an island. So they obviously, maybe in the press he's not getting what he deserves, but he gets it from the Giants. Prince is in my opinion, is close to being a shutdown corner, if not one already. So I think he's got his due. This is it for him. He's going to put together an all-pro year.
I think so too. He's going to come close as well. I'm talking about the other teams around the league. I'm sure he just needs to get a couple of those picks this year. But hey, as long as he makes tackles like he's always sure about, I'll take it every 9 out of 10 times, especially with Rogers Kamari on the other side and
Absolutely.
Antrell and Stevie behind them. So who are going to be the captains this year, other than Eli and your boy Diassi?
You definitely got Eli and Diassi. I think on the defense, I think you're going to go with Decent and Roll. I mean, I don't think you could do any worse. You one up front that commands and one in the back that leads. Those four captains will be fine. Who knows? They might throw Weatherford out there, but he might tweet about it too much. So maybe they'll just stick with the four.
Well, I also read that Victor Cruz is also in the captain meetings now too. So maybe Victor gets maybe some love this year as well. But
you know what? That's actually a good point. I didn't read that yet, but I wouldn't be surprised because let's face it, the guys look up to him. He brings it every game, and he's very up tempo and very positive, and that's what you need. At the captain position. So you don't need anybody negative, and I believe that'd be a good pick. I would like to see that actually.
Yeah, that would be a great one. Since we all know you go to every single Giant game, home and road. All right, not the normal division road games, but this season, which game are you excited to go to? Not because of the game, but the town you're going to this year.
I think I'm looking forward to going to Jacksonville again. I had a decent time when I was there. Maybe Tennessee, and how could you forget Detroit? I mean, maybe not the city itself, but the Monday night. I don't know. I could just step over the border into Canada. I don't know. That might be an interesting one to go to as well. So I'm looking forward to the trips this year. I actually had a blast in St. Louis the last time I went too. So we got some good trips coming up. I'm going to enjoy all these.
In Jacksonville, you're going to sit in the swimming pool that they just installed?
I don't know. They let my plates in?
Probably not.
Probably not is right.
Do you have any new additions for this season? Or
Yeah, I do. It's amazing. I got to tell you, Giant fans are the best. They really are. If you're a Giant fan, then we can rock together forever because – I'm starting to get plates in the mail. I don't know how they get my address. Some send them to the stadium, which is kind of funny. And I'm up to 35 plates, and they all come with me. So I don't know if I get them all in. I'm still gonna have to maybe just take two ropes on it. They're gonna call me 2 Chainz. I'm gonna have to start rapping.
Yeah, might as well. I put him on 2 Actually, it's going to be 3 seasons. Wow, we're getting old, Joe. That was 3 seasons ago. The last season in Albany, I put him on. It was no joke. I don't know how you do it every game.
They're getting big. They're getting bigger and bigger.
So, all right. How about that? So that's all right. So, which home game other than the division games? Which ones are you excited? I'm sure you're excited for Michael Strahan night.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that night. Truthfully, I was very close with Bear Pasco, and I'm very close with OC. So I'm kind of looking for Atlanta to come in. Definitely looking forward to seeing those guys, seeing Ahmad and the Colts. So I'm definitely looking forward to those guys coming in.
What? No Akeem?
And Akeem. Oh, I can't even forget Akeem. You know what? Listen, a lot was said about him last year, giving up this and that. He was hurt. But no excuses. No excuses. You got to fight through that. And, it looks like we found a couple of guys to take his place. And, my belief, once a Giant, always a Giant. But, he pissed off a few people, and I'm sure it's not going to be a welcome home for him.
All right, Joe, everybody knows about the license plates. But most people also know about the jerseys. You have any cool new jerseys coming out this year?
I got some great ones, man. I can't wait to break them out. Really cool jerseys this year. I kind of try and make them now team jerseys, but it's difficult not supporting some of the players. I made a new, Randall front, Beckham back. I made a cool NFC. I hate the NFC East jersey which would be cool. I won't tell you about that. It'll be a surprise. I have a nice new camo one that I'll wear when we celebrate that. And obviously, I love my September 11 jersey, which I wear to the first game in September. So I got some new ones to break out. I'm excited about those.
Yeah, I can't wait to see your new I hate the NFC East division, because you've had a couple of them in the past, so I'm sure you stepped your game up in that department as well.
You know what? I really try. It doesn't happen all the time, and I really try and keep them positive to my team and not hateful to other teams. But it's just so easy with the Eagles and the Cowboys. How could it not be easy? So, I take a lot of heat on social media, about that stuff, and I hardly get into it. I never really argue with fans outside of the Giants. And even that, I can't stand arguing with Giant fans because, like I've said before on the podcast, and I'll say it again, I don't understand how Giant fans could dislike other Giant fans. If you want to dislike me because I wear license plates and I go to every game and I wear crazy jerseys, fine. Hate me, dislike me, stop following me. I have no problem with that. But if you're a fan of the Giants and I'm a fan of the Giants, we should be rocking together.
So, you mentioned your jerseys, and especially the Eagles one. The other day, my friend, who actually is an Eagles fan, he was bashing me for the Giants, and it's like, we should be probably the third team in the division, and how they should have the best offense. So I sent him actually the picture of you with your zero jersey.
Oh, great. And now I got another fan, huh?
And I haven't heard from him since.
Listen, you, as Giant fans, and you guys should know, you're going to get the Cowboys fans that just yap away, America's team, this and that. And then you're going to get the Eagles team that win the Super Bowl every single year. Guys, let them talk. It's the best. You let them chatter all day long, all week long, all month long, and then all season long until it counts. Then you never hear from them again. Until, of course, preseason starts again.
Of course. Like our old journal, Tom Coughlin, talk is cheap, play the game. And I have confidence in these guys this year. We have the best defense in the division, by far, not even close. Wait, what wins football games? Defense and running game. Other than McCoy's trolls, which is pretty scary. I'm kind of scared about that. Not gonna lie, but everything else in the Eagles, I think the Eagles are a little overrated, if you ask me.
They always are. Every single year they're overrated.
Other than McCoy, I think they're a bit overrated. We don't know.
You think in a million years that Foles is going to have the same type of season? You're on crack if you think he's going to have the same type of season.
Well, that's why Philadelphia has that high epidemic right now, obviously, as you know. But honestly, there's no way he's throwing for 2 interceptions this year. Absolutely not.
No, you know what? Let's be
preseason game.
Let's be generous. Let's give him 8, maybe 10. And that's actually a good season. But he's definitely going to throw them.
Oh, absolutely. Hopefully they're against the Giants.
I pray that 7 out of the 8 are, yes.
Well, returned for touchdowns.
All of them.
Give you a day off, basically. We'll just play defense.
No problem. He could use one of those,
Absolutely.
It's actually we're actually playing them Columbus Day weekend, October 11th, Sunday Night Football this year.
Nice. Yeah. I actually do like. I was looking at the schedule earlier today. I really do love that all of our division road games are done by that game that Steve just mentioned. That is our last road game in the division for the season, which is amazing.
Yeah, I kind of like how the schedule played out as well. I mean,
except for November,
it wouldn't have mattered if we didn't like it because
of course
you play what's on the schedule. So
yeah, we have that one little crazy month in November.
Yeah, we definitely have a tough November coming up.
But I'm pretty confident in these guys. I don't think the Hawks are going to be the Hawks from last year. Hopefully they'll have a nice little hangover all season.
I don't know about that. They're no joke. I'm not looking forward to going out to Seattle.
No, that's.
I went out there before. It's loud and they're good. Yeah, but you know me, I'm a homer, so I got the Giants winning that game anyway. So.
Absolutely.
16-0.
You have your earplugs ready for that game?
Yeah, no, I don't need earplugs, man. I got my hair covering my ear. I'm good to go.
Hey, Fabio.
Hopefully it won't rain too much on him. That's the key.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be a wet dog out there.
Yeah, we don't need that. All right, so I know you're gonna say Giants 16-0, hopefully 19-0, but we need a legit thing. What do you think the Giants are gonna do this year?
One of my friends, we went at it the other day, like for real. And yes, I always say 16-0, 19-0, all that. But I honestly got the Giants winning 10 or 11 games. Some might call me crazy. I've seen the media pick the Giants at 6-10. Some have them at tops at 8 wins, and that's tops at 8 wins. I've not seen anybody give them more than that. At least I haven't. I think that's nuts. They're bound to go 10, 11 wins, 12 wins, pushing it, could be done. You have no idea what's going to happen when they get the offense figured out and Eli starts hitting the targets and the offensive line starts to click and we have a running game. Nobody has any idea what's going to hit them.
Absolutely. I actually do have one question for you, since
Sure.
You're around the team a little bit more than I am. You know a bunch of players. All right. From what I've gathered from the media, from Giants.com, all the player videos and everything like that, this year's team seems like a team. And you did not get that feeling the last couple of years. Do you feel the same way I do? Like I mentioned throughout the last couple episodes, this year's defense just seems just like a one team. And you haven't gotten that since Beeson came over to the team last year.
Well, being around the team, I don't know, man. I've seen the defense many a year. They always get amped up. They're always together. They're always dancing. They're always doing this. They're always doing that. They're always a team. But with all of the veterans and all of the diehards and once a Giant, always a Giants leaving, all of these guys that hit the road, there's a ton of new faces on this team. And I think that they came together as a unit and as one because of that, because they're all new, because they had to stay together. And you know what? I'm going to give a little kudos to David Tyree, by the way, because David Tyree really brings people together. His attitude, the way he sends messages mentally, not physically, but mentally in his words, he's a God-fearing man, and he literally brings these guys together and talks with them on a daily basis. So, yeah, I might give you that. I might think they're going to be one unit. You're not going to be able to break them apart.
So next year's America's game, we had Colonel Gadsden, the first Super Bowl. We had that track cross country runner that collapsed and finished. So you're telling me next year's was going to be David Tyree, Super Bowl 42 hero, being the catalyst for next year's America's?
Hey, listen, I would love it, right? Wouldn't you? I couldn't care if it was a Girl Scout. I couldn't care who's the catalyst. Just get them over the hump.
Absolutely. Hey, you know how Coughlin is. He'll find any little thing for it. So hopefully, let's get it done.
Let's get it done. That should be the motto. Let's get it done.
Yeah, that has to be the motto this year. There's no excuses this year. We need to find a way to win this division, and this division is so overrated. If everything goes our way, we win the division and play with house money as far as I know.
I could see it on the rings. I could see it on the rings right now. Let's get it done.
Yeah, man.
Finish. All in. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm all in for that.
I'm all in for that.
I'm all into that.
So what, Joe? Next year, Thursday Night Football, I believe, is going to be about the 5th or 6th of September-ish, right? Sounds
wow,
right.
You're already going to next year, man?
Well, for winning the Super Bowl, we might as well start planning opening day tailgate for Thursday.
I guess you're right.
Hey.
Thursday Night Football, MetLife Stadium.
Joe, what's going to be on the license plates grill opening day against the Cardinals?
What's going to be on the plate?
What's going to be on the grill?
Well, I always got the same plate going on my car. It's G1 amps. But I got so many, even the plates that have been sent to me.
Barbecue.
Barbecue.
Oh, on the grill.
Yeah, the grill.
Oh, man. Oh, my fault. Eddie, let's go. What do you want? You want giant hamburgers? You want giant hot dogs? You want giant steaks or giant chicken? Whatever it is, it's giant related.
How about this, Joe? You're more than welcome. We'll be there about 8:30ish. Parking lot J8. You have my number. Come on and tailgate with us.
You know what? I haven't taken you up on that. I think I'm going to have to.
Absolutely. The first 2 home games, I'm going to be there for both of them, so it has to be one of those 2 games.
You know what, guys? I'm going to take you up on that, man. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
Let's do it.
We'll be there. I'll definitely hit you up during the week. Just make sure everything's good. But parking lot J8, we're there every week.
You got it, man. Appreciate the offer, pals.
No problem. You had it, Joe, license plate guy. We're ready for the season. You're going to listen to more Crush It by Division 1.1. Once again, thank you, Joe. Let's go Giants.
Thanks, guys. Let's go Giants, baby. Super Bowl 49 champs. Here we go.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye-bye.
S&D Podcast is in no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Football League or any of its affiliates.
Hey everybody, Adam Rink here of NFL.com and the NFL Network. You're listening to the SND Podcast. And lo and behold, I know 2 Giants fans. I'm totally remiss. I apologize. And please, keep listening.
It's safe to say we crushed it in that one.
Yeah, I like the pun right there. Once again, you just listened to Crush It by Division 1.1.
Brand new music.
Brand new music. We're going to hit them with another new song next week.
We'll save it for 2 weeks.
Maybe. Depends on the mood we're in, especially with the Giants coming off hopefully a win or a loss. So we'll see what happens with that. Steve, we have to ask you, what are the Jets doing against the Raiders? Say the Jets are going to win. Their defense is just going to overwhelm Carr, his debut, and the Raiders are the Raiders. I'd love to see Justin. It's going to be weird seeing Tuck a different jersey in MetLife Stadium. Granted, it's going to be a green outlining. Still MetLife Stadium, and I'm sure it's going to be weird for him to go into the visiting locker room. But I hope he does well, and I hope MJD does well because I've always liked him, and he's a bunch of my fantasy teams. Jets come out and win. They're 1-0.
Jets win the home opener.
Yeah.
Come out and make the team look like they're going to Super Bowl champs. The fans will be like, there's no way we're not winning the Super Bowl. Then again, they're playing against Raiders and a rookie quarterback. Who ideally did look good.
Yeah, he did.
And they said that there were... During the draft last year, the draft process, they said there were 2 ready guys going into the draft, quarterback-wise.
Him and
Bridgewater. So, of course, when he succeeds, Carr, everyone could laugh at him, laugh at the Texans again for not taking him 3 picks before the Raiders took him.
Davian Clowney's.
Second round, they...
Oh, gotcha. Anyway, the Giants, what do you think? I'm kind of nervous, like I told Joe a little bit, but the minute we get the first-team offense going, because what it really comes down to, they could have never gotten that rhythm because they played 2 series and just got out. And that's, we all know, typical Eli. He's better as the game progresses. I'm excited to see what our brand-new secondary looks like. And that's good.
Talk about the ultimate test.
Monday is the ultimate test, and that's what we paid them to do. That's what we paid Bowman. That's what we paid Thurman. That's what we paid our main prize in Rogers Cromartie, RC. And
here you go, Cromartie. Here's Calvin Johnson as your first test as a Giant.
Honestly, let's go. And hopefully we get the pass rush from JPP. And like me and Joe's personal favorite, the Monster and the guy.
I mentioned I was talking to my friend, the Eagle fan, Brian, the other day. Giants could either have the best defense in the NFC East, which they should, or they can have the worst defense. Actually, no, second worst.
Second worst. Dallas.
We're not giving up 500 yards a game.
Dallas is going to be a record low. But I don't know. I'm not saying if the Giants are going to win or lose because I really, both teams both have brand new offenses. It's going to be one of those cluster games.
We cover.
Okay, I'll take that.
It's 5.5 and we cover.
I take the Giants covering too because honestly, both teams offensively, other than Calvin Johnson, is so inconsistent, especially with both teams with brand new offenses.
All it takes is one hit by JPP and Stafford's out of the game for the.
Well, same thing with Dominican Sue with Eli. So easy what you wish for, pal. Knocking on wood with that.
But Eli gets up.
Yeah, we hope.
Well, yeah, we hope Eli gets. But Eli in the since he's a Giant gets up.
Of course.
Stafford gets hit and he doesn't get up.
More times than not.
Oh.
But I say the Giants cover as well. I'm taking the easy way out this week. But once again, thanks to Chris for covering the Jets for us. Thanks to Joe for coming on, talking to the Giants. I hope we see him home opener for the what are they playing? The
Texans.
Texans in week 3.
Cardinals week 2, Texans week 1.
So whatever happens.
Month of September is at Detroit Monday Night Football. Sunday at 1 against the Cardinals. Sunday at 1 against the Texans. Thursday night in D.C. For the Jewish New Year.
Happy Jewish New Year to you, Stephen. That should be fun.
That's going to be the interesting team in our division. To be completely honest.
I'm telling you right now, I don't know if you're going to post it before or after the show hits, but I'm going to say the Giants to win the division, but it ultimately comes down to the Redskins share. I was going to put them, but I can't not say the Giants are not going to win the division.
I said the Eagles. I just like their offense. Foles may not be the same guy, but their offense. Cooper, Macklin, Ertz, they're stacked.
They're stacked.
And they're not talking about it either.
Yeah, I know.
Like 2 years ago, the Dream Team.
Defense wins championships, so I'm going to go with the best defense.
But I'm okay with them winning the division and making a wild card spot. Because we've done that before.
Hopefully we're good enough for that. In the last couple of years we haven't. So I just hope the broken offense gets fixed.
What's your take on the new intense Coughlin? I forgot to ask Joe about that. There's a report today that says he is back to his old intense Coughlin.
I like it. And the reason why I like it is they need it. They needed the biggest kicks in the ass last year, other than, like I've said over and over again. Other than Antrell Roll and Beeson last year and Victor Cruz, no one showed up when they needed the most. And Tuck, because he had 10 sacks. But he's not on the team anymore. So they needed the rejuvenation. We needed the new guys that we got in the offseason. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm slightly nervous, but it comes with every year. You know me. I'm neurotic to the bone when it comes to the Giants. But at the end of the day, like Antrell Roll says, gotta play the game. Talk is cheap. Gotta play the game. So hopefully, I pray to God that Odell Beckham comes on the field soon so we can have that offense going. Now, honestly, I know he's going to be the fourth or fifth wide receiver on the team. I hope some way, somehow, Corey Washington finds a way to get on the field. And
odds that he is our Ramos Spartan.
Oh,
you're the one who brought that up.
100%. He's going to be our Ramos Spartan, but he seems to be better than Ramos Spartan. We'll see. We'll see.
Spartan wasn't that great.
He wasn't that great at all, other than that one Carolina game 2 seasons ago. Can you believe that 2 years ago?
The Andre Brown show. That was the game we all said there's no way we're winning because it was the first Thursday night game.
First Thursday night, Cam Newton
and
Keem Nicks was out.
I think Cruz was out also in that game.
No, Cruz was in.
Somebody else who didn't play. Oh, all of our running backs.
Yeah, Bradshaw and Wilson.
And I felt like there were defensive players out too.
Yeah, it was a disaster. Anyway, enjoy your first week of football. Before we start, and who's winning the Packers-Seahawks game? Seahawks, I think so too.
I have one more thing before we end. An on-podcast announcement. Okay. Like Notre Dame, like Michigan. Your bet for next week?
Sure. That's easy.
Okay, on the show.
Yep, and the winning fight song has to be played on the podcast.
Okay, we could do that.
I like it.
That'll be our intro song next week.
All right. Hopefully it's cheer for old Notre Dame.
Hail to the victors.
All right, go Irish, go Giants, and I guess we'll go say Jets since we're a New York team. Jets, Jets.
Jets, Giants, and Michigan. Blue.
Go Irish.
See you guys next week.